Hey everybody, this is your instructor Mark Duncan, and I'm hoping that you're all having a great Labor Day weekend. I'll try to keep this short so it doesn't take up too much of your time. The fact is, it'll be a reference presentation for the most part that can replace or supplant any Zoom meetings. Again, I'll plan a Zoom meeting for next Sunday. I'll send you the information. It's optional attendance, and I think if you pay attention to this, you'll probably be fine, as my primary concentration in both instances is to give you some insight into the final project and what kinds of things I look for when I'm grading them. So to that extent, let's press on. Again, it's optional, not mandatory. If you want to tune in next weekend, if on the other hand you can't or don't really want to, just understand that you can email questions to me anytime you want, or feel free to call. My phone number is in the contact information for the instructor. And I think that the students that have called in the past, and there's usually not that many, that's not something that students do, are generally satisfied with the direction that they get. They generally do a really good job. So these are the slides primarily, with the exception of one that you would have seen if we'd had a live show. So really, any Zoom meeting that we would have had today is really just an opportunity for me to check in with you guys, you to check in with me, and ask any questions that you might have. Again, we can't do it through this format, but you should feel free to contact me anytime, any way that's convenient for you, and I'll do my best to respond to your question. I hope everything is going well. If it's not, please let me know. I think the only thing that I would add at this point from my side is make sure, if you're behind on your written assignments, to get up to speed as soon as possible. I do, like I said, get hard nosed around week 6, and that's because of one instance, and typically this time of the year is bad for this sort of things. I think people are sort of quasi on vacation. You have instances of holidays like this, but this time last year was challenging, and the year before that was chaotic, because I had never really had that happen before, when so many students came in that had gotten behind at the last minute, and it was a real challenge for me to get through the last week. Grade all the late assignments, and still get, as I'm commanded to do or charged to do by CSU, to get the final projects and grades in on time. So I give students at this time fair warning. Get them in ASAP. If you're having problems, just let me know. And this all applies not to DTs, but to critical assignments. Let me know if you're having problems. Keep me informed, and I'm pretty flexible. Again, if there are things now that you think could be done to improve the course, you're not getting your questions addressed, or the DTs aren't as in-depth that you'd like, please feel free to tell me. No harm, no foul. You'll get that chance as well when you do the course evaluations, and it's always good to tell the good as well as the bad, so the instructor knows what's being done right and what isn't being done right. But some things that can go wrong from my side might be that a video or a YouTube that I place in the announcements, this might happen, probably has happened, that it doesn't call up, the link has been disabled, maybe by are discontinued by YouTube and I simply don't know it. So when you run into things like that, let me know so I can fix them. There are a couple of papers left, unless you have a couple you already haven't done, in which case your primary concern ought to begin to be focused on the final project. Now there are some milestones that you guys are required to do. You don't have to do them, but on the other hand, there is a penalty that goes with that. And the purpose of that, usually the amount of points associated with it aren't deal breakers by any stretch, unless of course you're sitting on the cusp between an A and a B, or a B and a C, or an A minus and an A, or vice versa, on and on. And you're welcome to skip them. The main point, but you'll be charged for them. But the main point, obviously, is to make sure that you are making progress on your final project. That's the whole point, that you don't wait until the last minute to do it. As far as the final project is concerned, let me just make some comments here. This is from your Module 8 assignment on the final project. And I'll just run through some of these and tell you quickly what I look for. So the way I see this assignment, it's kind of an extension of that entrepreneurship. Well, let me restate that. The way I see this assignment, it's a entrepreneurial in nature. You're starting a retail business, and in the preliminary assignments or points that you hand in, the one I was talking about a minute ago, they'll ask you if you have a name, and it's good just to submit something again to show that you are making progress. But as far as the document itself is concerned, this is like a short, quasi-detailed business plan. And the most important component of the business plan is actually the executive summary, because in reality it's the only thing that venture capitalists and or bankers typically read. They want to know, that's not true for me, but I read the whole thing, but in reality it's the only thing most companies read, and so you want to take the most salient issues from each of the topics in your business plan and give a 1 to 2 liner max for each issue in the executive summary. So state the name, what your business does, what your business model is, and the business model is how you make your money. Say that succinctly. So do you make your money through retail sales, through subscription, whatever. Be clear on that. Give the details of your target market and what clearly differentiates you from the competition. And again, say these very succinctly, either one sentence per or 2 max. Try to stick some of them into the same sentence. Like your market analysis, summary, and differentiation can definitely go together. One sentence about how you tend to promote it, and how you might have different pricing, product, line extension categories, whatever, and where you're going to operate your business. And then just an overview of your profit and loss, like we estimate by the end of year 5 we're going to be making X amount of money. And that's kind of it. Do that in a half a page to 3/4 of a page max. And because it's a summation of all these other things, although the executive summary comes at the beginning, typically it's the last thing that's written. The company summary, your mission, objectives, code of ethics. As far as objectives goes, I make a distinction between goals and objectives. Goals are broad statements like I want to be the number 1, I want to be in the top 5 real estate companies in my service area. That would be a goal. the good objectives are always quantified. And so you'd say, I would like in year one my revenues to be X dollars, and to grow them on an average of X percent annually over my 5-year period. You could say, and maybe by that time achieve X market share. So they're generally industry metrics, market share, sales in dollars, percent increases, so on and so forth. And then when you've stated those metrics, you can evaluate them at the end of each year against, and use your 4 Ps, your marketing mix, as a way to determine which were the most effective in actualizing those objectives. Company ownership management, it's a paragraph. You might even use bullet points to lay it out, or some little figure of some kind. It's an S corp, it's C corp, whatever, private. Company location and facility, or company location and facility. Just, you're going to be in a mall, you're going to be in an industrial area that's in the process of turning into a retail area, something like that. Can you run it out of if it's online, it's online, and maybe all you need is a storage facility of some kind to manage your inventory. But just be clear about that, and it doesn't take a lot of space to do that. I think this identification of consumers and target markets is very important. I like to see that you have a clear idea of who your consumers are. If you're proposing a business to deliver food at home, just don't say it's everybody who's tired of cooking, or it's everybody who likes organic or something like that, because rarely can you say your target market is everybody about anything, or even in context everybody that likes organic food. There's usually other gradients or or segment dimensions like demographics, age, income, so on and so forth. So be clear about who your target markets and segments are, and why they are particularly attractive. Give me just a little bit that you researched around scope and scale. So I'm in Fort Collins, and the ages between 18 and 25 in this income category. You could find that data in the state state census information. So do a little bit of research, because that's part of this assignment. So be clear on who your consumers' target segments are, and a little bit about scope and scale, and what about that makes them attractive. Product or service description, again, let's assume that you are, I'm trying to think of that business that started selling razor blades online, and then they deliver them at home. So if that's the nature of the business, tell me something about it, and then again what the business model is, which is how they make their money, subscription, whatever. It's this section that you're referring to around that matter in the executive summary. Market analysis summary, who are the competitors, who are the other players, and that should segue nicely into what you could do that in a paragraph, and then what differentiates your product from the competition. Your marketing strategy, that's again product, price, place, promotion. How are you manipulating those things to actualize the objectives that you defined in under the company summary? And these are typically tactics. And so if you're one objective is to increase sales by X dollars or X percent, then this is where you tell how you're going to do that. So we're going to advertise, use social media, hire X salespeople, whatever that might be. Have these different pricing structures, bundle services, whatever. Be creative. Human resource requirements. We need X new salespeople. We need to hire an accountant, whatever. Financial plan. You're going to have to do what they say here. A lot of students just kind of skip this or leave it out entirely. So you want to have your projected profit and loss, a balance sheet, cash flows. There was an assignment. There's a written assignment that gives you the skills and the insight to do this. I forget exactly which one it is. It may be coming up, but that's exactly what they ask you to do. And so that's what's expected. The knowledge from that assignment to integrate into this particular section. Either a 3 or a 5 year projection is what I would recommend. Then your references. Be creative, incorporate course material into your plan. You know, if you got a logo or something like that, do it. That's really neat. Or charts or graphs that you've gleaned around a particular issue or item in your research. Make sure you reference things appropriately, though. When you do graphs and tables, be sure to title them and number them and title them. And then you refer to them in your text by Table 1 or Figure 1. And then you paste that in after you've referred to it, the first chance you get for it to be seen on an entire page. That's the appropriate way to do it. Use APA in your references, cite appropriately in your text. And that's all I have to say about that. Again, if you have further questions on it, you can contact me directly or through email or calling, or you can attend the meeting next week. Okay, if you need further clarification, like I just said, talk to me next week or see you on the phone or an email.